The paper trembled against the cold metal pole as the woman's fingers pressed it flat, her breath shallow, her eyes hollow from nights without sleep. The word missing screamed back at her in bold black letters, but it was the face beneath it that was tearing her apart again and again. In that quiet suburban street, where children once laughed and bicycles once raced, a millionaire woman who had everything money could buy stood completely broken, held together only by hope and guilt. And just as she turned away, feeling the familiar weight of failure settle on her chest, a small voice rose behind her, steady and innocent, carrying words that would shatter her world forever. Before we go deeper into this story, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet miracles that change lives, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps stories like this reach hearts that need them most. The woman had once been admired from afar. Her name appeared in business magazines, her face smiled confidently from charity gala banners, and her wealth had built schools, hospitals, and shelters. Yet none of that mattered now. None of it filled the emptiness that had taken residence inside her chest 6 years ago, the day her daughter vanished. Back then, she had been too busy closing deals, boarding flights, and chasing growth. A trusted driver, a delayed meeting, and a moment of misplaced certainty had been all it took. By the time the alarm was raised, the trail had gone cold, leaving behind unanswered questions and a silence that screamed louder than any siren. Every morning since, she followed the same ritual. She drove herself through neighborhoods she had never visited before, taping posters onto poles, bus stops, and grocery store boards. She refused bodyguards, refused help, refused rest. This was her penance. This was her promise to a child who might still be waiting somewhere, wondering why her mother never came back. The money that once insulated her from pain now felt useless, mocking her inability to fix the one thing that mattered. That afternoon, the air was thick with late summer heat, the kind that makes everything feel slower and heavier. Sweat traced lines down her temples as she smoothed the edges of the poster, stepping back to look at the familiar face. Bright eyes. A soft smile. A missing tooth that never grew back because the child never came home. The street was quiet except for the distant hum of traffic, and she prepared herself to walk away again, bracing for another day of disappointment. Then she noticed the girl. She stood a few steps away, barefoot, wearing clothes that were too thin and too worn for her age. Her hair was pulled back carelessly, and her skin bore the marks of a life that had not been gentle. Yet her eyes were sharp, observant, fixed not on the woman but on the poster itself. There was no fear in her posture, no curiosity for the wealthy stranger. Only recognition. The words that followed did not sound dramatic or loud. They did not echo. They simply existed, heavy and undeniable. The girl said she knew that missing child. Not from television. Not from posters. But from memory. The woman felt something inside her crack. Years of controlled grief, rehearsed hope, and polite despair collapsed in an instant. Her knees weakened, and she gripped the pole for balance, the world tilting as disbelief and terror collided. She searched the girl's face for signs of a lie, a trick, or confusion. There were none. Only certainty. The girl explained, not with rehearsed detail but with fragmented recollections, like someone opening a box they had tried to keep buried. She spoke of a place far from that clean, quiet street. A place where names were forgotten and children were told not to ask questions. She spoke of a girl who cried at night, who clung to a memory of a woman who smelled like lavender and promises. A girl who used to whisper stories about a big house and a piano she was never allowed to play alone. With every word, the millionaire woman's composure unraveled. She sank to the curb, tears streaking down her face without restraint or shame. In that moment, she was not powerful or admired. She was simply a mother who had been handed a fragile thread leading back to her child. The days that followed moved faster than the years before them. Authorities were contacted, records reopened, and places long abandoned were searched again. The girl stayed close, not out of obligation but because she understood loss in a way few adults ever could. She had survived by watching, remembering, and holding on to truths others ignored. She had no family waiting for her, no safety net, yet she had carried someone else's secret for years. When the missing child was finally found, older and changed but unmistakably alive, the reunion did not look like a movie scene. There were no perfect embraces or instant healing. There were tears, hesitation, and long silences filled with grief for all that had been stolen. But there was also something stronger than pain. There was forgiveness growing slowly, like light through cracks. The woman did not return to her old life. She reshaped it. Her fortune became a tool, not a shield. She built homes for children who had fallen through the cracks, created systems to find the forgotten, and made space at her table for the girl who had spoken up when no one else did. She learned that redemption was not earned through wealth but through presence, humility, and listening. If this story is touching your heart right now, please take a moment to like the video, share it, and engage with the channel. Your interaction helps keep these stories alive and reaching those who need hope. And before the ending, I have a special request for you. Please comment the word hope below if you believe that even the smallest voice can change a life. In the end, the woman returned to that same street, not to tape another poster, but to remove the last one. She stood there quietly, letting the paper peel away, knowing that while the past could never be undone, the future had finally been reclaimed. And somewhere nearby, two girls walked forward together, no longer missing, no longer invisible, proving that sometimes miracles arrive not with sirens or headlines, but with a simple truth spoken by someone brave enough to remember.